In today's video, we will share with you an incredible story of a man who managed to escape from a secret prison after spending 10 years behind bars. This is the true story of how he made the impossible possible. A while ago, we published a video about another secret prison where it was nearly impossible to escape. However, there were always those people who claimed that if they were in such a situation, they would do whatever it takes to get out. Some people commented that no prison could keep them inside forever, not even the infamous Alcatraz. So when we found this incredible story of a prisoner who spent 10 years in a secret prison before finally managing to escape, we knew we had to share it with you. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe for more amazing stories. You can also press the bell icon so you will be notified every time we publish a new video. It all started when Daniel woke up in the middle of the night. As he slowly opened his eyes, he realized that something was off. He couldn't remember anything from the last 10 years of his life. He didn't know how he got there, why he was there, or even who he was. All he remembered was his name. It was like everything from the last decade of his life had been wiped clean from his memory. As he looked around, he noticed that he was in a small, dark room with no windows or doors. He tried calling out for help, but his voice echoed back at him, making him jump in surprise. Fear began to creep up on him as he realized that he was completely alone. Suddenly, a loud voice boomed through the room, saying, "Wake up, sleepyhead, it's time to start your day." The voice seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. A moment later, a small opening in the wall slid open and a guard entered the room. He was carrying a tray with breakfast on it. "Eat up," the guard said gruffly, throwing the tray at Daniel without another word. The sudden movement startled Daniel, and he flinched. But then, seeing that the guard was already gone, he cautiously approached the tray and began to eat. As he ate, he tried to piece together the events leading up to that moment. He thought back to the last thing he remembered, his name, but no matter how hard he tried, nothing else came to the surface. It was as if his entire past had been erased. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Daniel continued to wake up each morning before sunrise and eat the food that was delivered to him through the opening in the wall. He spent his days trying to break free, but the walls were too strong and his fingernails were too weak. As the months passed, he began to lose hope. One day, while he was pacing the floor, he noticed a small hole in the wall that had not been there before. He put his ear against the hole and heard voices on the other side. Suddenly, he had a brilliant idea. He would pretend to go insane and ask the guards to drill a bigger hole so he could have some fresh air. He started screaming and shouting, banging his head against the wall until the guards arrived. "Stop it, please," one of the guards said. "You're hurting yourself." "Drill a bigger hole," Daniel screamed back. "I need fresh air." "Why?" "Because I want to see the sun again," Daniel replied. "I haven't seen it in so long." The guards looked at each other and then nodded. One of them left to get the drill. Daniel stopped banging his head against the wall and waited. When the guard returned with the drill, he pressed his face against the hole and begged him to turn it on. The guard hesitated, but then started drilling. Daniel was overjoyed. Finally, he would see the sun again, but his joy turned to horror when the guard stopped drilling and said, "That's enough! Don't push your luck!" Daniel watched as the guard left, shaking his head in disbelief. He would never get out of there alive, but then he had another brilliant idea. He would simply wait until nighttime and dig his way out using the shard of glass from the broken tray. That plan failed, however, because he did not realize that there was barbed wire installed on the outside of the walls. When he got close to it, the alarm went off and the lights turned on. The guards arrived quickly and beat him for trying to escape. Defeated, Daniel laid down on his bed. Defeated. He didn't have the strength to keep trying, but then he remembered something he had learned from a book that was in his cell. There was an underground labyrinth beneath the prison. No one knew about it, and it was rumored to hold many secrets. Daniel knew that he had to try to escape again. This time, he decided that he would dig a hole under the prison walls. Every night, he would take a piece of his bread and scrape it against the concrete floor, making small pebbles of dust. He saved the dust in a corner of his cell and waited for his chance. When the moon was full and the guards were drunk, he took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and started digging. It took him 3 months to dig a hole big enough to fit his body through, but finally, he was ready. On the night of the full moon, he crawled through the hole and found himself in the underground labyrinth. He didn't know where it would lead, but he was determined to find out. As he walked through the tunnels, he came across strange symbols carved into the walls. He didn't know what they meant, but he took note of them anyway. He continued to walk until he reached a dead end. Just as he was about to turn back, he saw a small opening at the top of the wall. He climbed up and found himself in a small room. In the center of the room was a pedestal with a box on top of it. Daniel approached the pedestal and opened the box. Inside the box was a key, and when Daniel picked it up, he felt a surge of power. With trembling hands, he unlocked the door and stepped out into the bright sunlight. He had done it. He was finally free. But his freedom was short-lived. As he walked away from the prison, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned around and saw the guards running towards him. They had seen him escape, and now they were determined to bring him back. Daniel ran as fast as he could, but the guards were almost upon him. Suddenly, he slipped and fell to the ground. He looked up to see a guard standing over him with a gun in his hand. "It's over," the guard said. "Give up." But just then, a voice rang out. "Hold it right there!" Daniel looked up to see a woman standing behind the guard. She was beautiful, and her eyes seemed to glow with power. She raised her hand and the guard froze. "Who are you?" Daniel asked. "My name is Isabella," she replied, "and I am here to help you." She turned to the guards and said, "Let him go. Now." The guards hesitated, but then they dropped their weapons and backed away. Isabella helped Daniel to his feet and said, "Come with me. I will protect you." She led him through a secret passageway and into the forest. They walked for hours until they finally reached a small village. "Thank you," Daniel said to Isabella. "I don't know what I would have done without you." "You are welcome," Isabella replied. "Now you must be careful. The government will be looking for you." Daniel knew that Isabella was right. He had to disappear if he wanted to stay alive. He thanked her again and then disappeared into the forest. Years passed and Daniel became a successful businessman. He never forgot Isabella or the secret prison, and he wondered often about the mysterious symbols he had seen in the labyrinth. One day, he decided to find out what they meant. He traveled to a remote monastery and met with an old monk. The monk looked at the symbols and said, "These are ancient runes. They can unlock the secrets of the universe." Daniel was amazed. He had no idea that the symbols held such power. The monk explained that each symbol represented a different aspect of the universe. Together, they formed a map to hidden knowledge. Daniel thanked the monk and returned home. He kept the symbols hidden away, knowing that they could change his life forever. But he didn't know that someone was watching him, someone who would stop at nothing to get the symbols for himself. To be continued. What do you think? Will Daniel manage to escape from his pursuers with the help of the mysterious symbols? What do the symbols actually mean, and what will happen next? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when part 2 is released. Thanks for watching. See you next time.